What's up, chat? Happy Thursday. The NBA All-Star break is upon us, but we got one more crack at it. You heard me. I'm a crack addict. I'm addicted to cracking prize pick cards when punks start static. What's up, Josh? The mad scientist of the prop, at least for the NBA props. What's Twitter got with me for CSGO? Oh my goodness, man. What's up, man? You ready for this All-Star break? It's bittersweet, right? Like, I love recharging, love some time off. My goodness, are we crushing it every night? So like, I just wanted to keep going, keep feeding me these NBA slates. But man, what's up, man? How's life today?
Good, man. I'm with you on that. Like, I feel like the recharge will be good, but at the same time, I feel I have this emptiness, and then things always change after our All-Star break, right? So you're like resetting kind of your mindset and attack approach because teams will shift and patterns will change. So yeah, it's always a interesting time, but we'll see how it goes. I mean, today is kind of, yesterday was a good way to end the break or right before break because such a big slate. We had a good feeling on it. Today, it feels like we're more going to be forcing things, forcing plays, and probably we'll still do it because it's the last game before break. So.
Yeah, no, like we said, the bigger the slates, it's inversed our DFS thoughts, right? You hate the big slates for DFS, but becoming to love the big slates for prize picks and prop hunting. And tonight, not a big slate, and another piece of the edge on these bigger slates is being able to capitalize on teams that are missing a starter or two, and we don't really have that today. Yeah, we have Gordon Hayward out, but the sites should have been able to compensate for efficient projections in the meantime. So really, we're just waiting on a couple of bits of news, like maybe Jimmy Butler. That Q tag on him might result in something. But yeah, we're going to have to do a little bit more work. Yesterday we had some obvious ones. I mean, we did a card here on the show yesterday where many of the picks that we had were like almost 10-point differences between my fantasy projections and theirs. I don't think we have that so far today. So yeah, prop hunting is a game of pick your battles. So maybe nights like last night aren't going to be atypical. But hey, we ain't no punks. We're gonna do the work. We're gonna see if we can't find something. See if we can't capitalize on some stuff, and hopefully over the weekend we can replace the NBA hunt. I saw they put up a celebrity basketball game that they do, and Myles Garrett's DMs are open on Twitter. I dang near did it, bro, and I was like, nah, what am I doing with my life? I'm like, yo, Myles, you gonna drop 14 for me, dog? Nah, I didn't want to do that. But Jack Harlow, what's happening? What's popping? I don't know, man. So I would like to not have to bet a bunch of celebrity basketball this weekend. Maybe we close strong here, but man, I'm having a lot of fun on PrizePicks right now. So hopefully we keep it going on the other side of the All-Star break. We have a strong finish, and then you mentioned it. Yeah, the season will start to get wonky towards the end there. Some teams that are shutting down, out of the fight, not in the hunt. Then, historically, the last 2 weeks of NBA, sometimes we've seen just absolute ridiculousness, fourth stringers playing 30, 40 minutes. So, enjoy it while we can and have some fun here. What's up, chat? Shout out to the live chat already chilling. Cam in the chat, Lorenza, Mia Moore, Rich Homie Quinn, Logan, Hateronzo with that sub badge next one. You love to see that. Willie Lewis says, what's the word? Gun at work, ready for the sauce. Let's go, Damron. Explain, please, your winning technique of playing 5 props spread out over like 10 plays. Want me to explain it? I mean, I can. Do we have time for that? It's essentially, I don't know. Let's see if we can pull up history. So I bet a lot of CSGO. So I don't know. Maybe we'll go to NBA. NBA is a little bit more realistic for you. or what's the word I'm looking for? Not realistic. Relatable. There we go. It starts with an R. So yesterday I did 2 5-pick flexes, right? Are they not listed here? 5 picks, 5 picks, 5 picks, 5 picks, 5 picks. Looking for one that was a smash. Slow. There's so many. By the way, I probably played like 80 cards between NBA and CSGO yesterday. All right, here's one with Jalen Smith. So this is one where Jalen Smith was the only sour part. There it is, right there. So if I find 5 picks that I like, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I 5-pick flex it, and then I will bet 10 combinations of those 5 picks. So I would do Jalen Smith and Josh Giddey, Jalen Smith and Randall, Jalen Smith, Halliburton, Jalen Smith and Kyle Kuzma, then Giddey and Randall, Giddey, Halliburton, and these are two pick powers, Randall, Halliburton. So essentially the rule is to find 5 picks you like, and 2 of them can't be on the same team. And then I throw a 5-pick at it, and then I 2-pick power all the way around. So even if only 3 hit, I still stand to profit. And then if 4 or 5 hit, it's a really good profit. I did the same thing with CSGO that just cashed out. And in a weird way, I profited that one, but it's because Boros was a DNP, so it went to a 4-pick, and the only one that missed was this one under. So I had all these combos again, and if you hit 3 or 5, you smash. So that's the 5-pick, round robin strat that I've been using. A couple other cats in the Discord tailing it. Shout out to Zaiwu, by the way. 70 kills. I guess that's good over his 44.5 projection. But hopefully that answers that, Damron. And if you have any other questions, hit me up in Discord, and we'll try and answer that. Yeah, Gun says he's addicted to crack. It's a Limp Bizkit lyric, bro. What up, Justin Sports? With Quavo props, he can really ball. They can put J. Cole in here. He was in the league, right? I truly appreciate you guys that don't have time to do all the studying. I'll make my life. I appreciate that, Jason. All right, let's do some studying, by the way. We're going to open up the rundfs.com NBA VIP spreadsheet. If you guys want access to the spreadsheet, go to rundfs.com, get yourself a membership. Not only is there access to the spreadsheet that will aesthetically pleasingly display all the games today, but it's also a good companion piece for comparing my projections to PrizePicks projections. We have the player prop tab, and then we also have the rundfs.com NBA VIP Discord looking a little something like this. Every day before lock, we're in the voice chat. We also have a PrizePicks and props channel, not just the NBA, as you can see. I'm out here putting action on CSGO and League of Legends and yada, yada, yada. So, Josh, today, like we said, 5-game slate. We're going to have to do a little bit stronger digging. But the only news that I really had to track was like Jimmy Butler had a Q tag next to him. We saw Daniel Gafford in. I think that might just crush Anthony Gill. We'll see. Gordon Hayward's still out. And the Nets are still playing in Brooklyn. So we would have another game with no Kyrie, still no Ben Simmons, and then, of course, no Kevin Durant, no James Harden being shipped off. It is a back-to-back. Maybe they get weird and rest some of these cats on night 2. But as I discussed openly on the live stream yesterday, the sense of urgency for the Nets to win is never going to be any higher. They can't afford to punt games here. So probably one of the better spots to start, I thought, looking at all these games. Yeah, we got the Charlotte, which is the process, and then we got Nets and Wizards. Wizards, another game without Bradley Beal, no Porzingis, and another shot at Kyle Kuzma and the Sunshine Gang. So what do you say we start on this game and do some prop shopping? Yeah. I want to start on the Wizards side. Kyle Kuzma, I believe he was one of the cats we were on yesterday. I had like a 50-plus fantasy point projection for him, and he did just that, put over 50 on the board. Right now, I'm getting a 45 fantasy point projection, so not as aggressive as yesterday, but it is a 3-point clearance over his PrizePicks projection, 36 PRA, 1.5 blocks and steals, and then 22.5 real points. We'll pull up the old on-off court tool for the NBA via NBA Wowie, addmorefunds.com, and put Kuzma on the court.
And by the way, Rui is questionable now. He was upgraded.
Okay, that's good to know. AMF is going really slow for me, so I'm going to refresh that, and if that doesn't shape up, then I don't know what to do. Did you check your PCP settings? Yes, I did, Ollie. It's not working. Oh, maybe I got to click Washington. That'll help. It's running sideways. Kuzma on, Bradleyville off. We'll just run that as is for now. And then I guess also we'll make sure that there's no Dinwiddie and no Montrezl Harrell. And we'll go from there. That's going to give us a couple of numbers to key in on. But the biggest number that we look at is usage, 27% usage rate, 23% assist rate over a FanDuel fantasy point per minute, 1.12, which is in line with the PrizePicks fantasy points per minute. It's the same scoring. Anything you like on the Wizards side here? I guess Kuzma would be the most polarizing figure to target.
Yeah. I don't think. I mean, Rui wouldn't change that much if he played, right? I mean, he would just change the amount of minutes for Denny and I guess Kisper. But I guess would it affect Kuzma's rebounding and maybe a little bit of his usage, because Rui is just a shooter, right? When he gets the ball, he's gonna look to shoot. So I don't know. But I mean, I still like Kuzma. What's your thoughts on KCP? I mean, he looked really good yesterday. I don't know if it's just due to the matchup, but he was aggressive on the defensive side and offensive side. He was getting steals, and he was efficient. They still have him at 24 fantasy points, so not much of a increase from yesterday.
Yeah, it's definitely historically hard to gravitate towards any KCP love,
right.
But in this split, over a 20% usage rate and just under a fantasy point per minute. So, slim pickings, but the pickings make kind of some sense here. If we go look at KCP last couple games. By the way, I see Nick Creasy in the chat said the wind is howling. I didn't figure you guys could hear that, but it is pretty loud, and I don't know if you're picking up on this little slight whistle here and there. But I guess this side of my room is facing a big field, so this window, this small little brick ledge, picks up some wind here. It looks like we've got a 20+ mile an hour wind gust right now. So my bad on the audio noise there, chat. Hopefully it's not too distracting. Maybe me mentioning it will now make it more distracting. But yeah. So 13, 11, 16, 27 real points his last couple outings. A couple peripherals to boot, not a ton. And the majority of those peripherals being steals. So I might want to look at his fantasy points over his PRA. His PRA is at 19. His fantasy points is at 24. So 24 kind of gives us a steal, maybe 1.2 implied stocks. And as long as he doesn't turn it over, it might be worth it. But it also, maybe worth looking at this 14.5 point prop as well. None of these numbers are going to be warm and fuzzy because it's Contavious Caldwell-Pope. But yeah, I get what you're saying. 5 games, so we don't want to really leave many stones uncovered. Also looking at this split here, maybe we take a peek at Raul Nedo. Another guy I'm never excited to play. Ish Smith now in the mix as well as a potential ball handler. Looking at some numbers for him, Neto has a 26% assist rate. And if we look at the last couple games of Neto in action, 8, 3, 4, 6 assists. That 8 coming against Indiana. Maybe a more comparable defense. And on PrizePicks, they're giving us a 4.5 assist prop. So, those are literally what we would classify as fringe plays. Makes sense, but nothing I'm running to jam in here. And 22 fantasy points is his prop. That's probably the better blanket to throw over it all. When you say Neto fantasy points at 22, my projection this early on has him at 27. So that gives me 4 or 5 fantasy point clearance over the projection. So My God, am I touting Raul Nedo fantasy points? No. But yes, it mathematically makes sense. So what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? D Johnson says rigged. What's rigged? Ugh, yeah, Windy in College Station. What up, Chris? College Station? That's not too far from here. Neto scored 21 last time they played. Well, that's good to know. All right, let's flip it to the other side of the basketball here. We get a couple of God dang it, it does this. I type in nets and it'll give me Hornets. Do we not have any Brooklyn stuff? There we go. I think Seth Curry, I think we talk about him. He's got a couple games under his belt now for the Nets. Yesterday was a big part of that incredible comeback. Him, Patty Mills, and Cam Thomas are picking up some load. They were down over 20 points and were able to battle back.
Knicks just keep finding ways to lose, man. It's sad.
It is sad. 32 and 36 minutes in his first two games with the Brooklyn Nets has given us over 5 assists in both games so far and over 20 real points in both games thus far. And it makes a lot of sense to look on a historically accurate shooter like Steph Curry for points. 16 and a half real points, giving us 4 or 5 points lower. This might be one of those spots where the projections really are not caught up to a player's role with the new team. You figured you'd be better safe than sorry if I was a lines maker and put this at like 19 and a half, but maybe 16 and a half is one of the early leans against this Wizards team that a little bit lankier, not a little bit smaller, not lankier on defense. And if Seth Curry is going to have this type of usage and opportunity, I might be leaning on that as one of the props to seek out for the Nets here. Let me just put Seth Curry on the court for the Nets and nothing else, right? We don't need to take anyone off because only 2 games and none of those games are like with Kyrie or nothing. So in 68 minutes of Seth Curry on the court for the Brooklyn Nets, he has a 24% assist rate, a 25% usage rate, just about a fantasy point per minute. Like we said, he's been a real scorer for them. So I might be interested in double-digit shot attempts of Seth Curry, and many of them from behind the arc. Would you jot down 16 and a half as an early strong one? This one I don't feel as fringy about, like a KCP or Neto.
Right. No, I was on this yesterday. It was at 16, and then he cleared it. Although I will say this, so he sat at pretty much 12 points majority of the game, and then it was at that end when they made that surge. Now, 18 of his 20 points yesterday came from behind the 3-point line, so he made 6 threes. So if you think he's going to get above 16 points, wouldn't it just make sense to go with a 2.5 3-point prop instead?
Yes, it would, Dolly. That's a really good point there, Josh. Let me.
I mean, obviously he could score some, from the field and not just from the 3-point line today. But I mean, guys like him and Clay, like if they're gonna exceed their point total, it's usually because they hit their threes, right?
Did you know Washington allows the second fewest points per game via the 3 ball?
That's not good.
It's not what you want. Not what you want. I did not know that either. But that's intriguing. But yes, so maybe his real point prop is intriguing. Also like the fact that he's been able to facilitate a little bit more, have a little bit more. Yeah.
What's up with Patty? Is he just dead? I mean, to the team, like he's playing 30 plus minutes and he's scoring less than 10 points every game.
Yeah,
he's not doing much.
Is he missing shots? Because his usage rate is over 30%, so he could be missing all the shots that he's taking. 2 for 13, 3 for 11, 3 for... Yeah, he's still taking double-digit shots. He's just missing them.
He's not he's not passing it either, so...
Yeah, all right. So Seth Curry kind of stands out to me. Also, LaMarcus Aldridge, night 2 of a back-to-back. I'm assuming he's going to play, like I said, sense of urgency. Pretty doggone high. He has scored 18 and 19 points his last 2 games. He's a guy I really do like to be the 6-man scorer for this team. I guess Cam Thomas as well. But when he's on the court, he's running and gunning. In life without KD, life without Kyrie, if a team like the Washington Wizards are going to allow you to score a little bit more interiorly, I think LaMarcus Aldridge has a good little mid-range game as well. If we look at points in the paint allowed, Washington is top 10 in allowing points in the paint. So
but Gafford's back, right? So
Gafford is back, and I guess there would be more overlap from those two off the bench, so it's a little stronger. But I don't know. Aldridge is skillful enough to get around a maybe hack-happy Gafford. 14 shot attempts for him yesterday, 11 in the game prior. That at Golden State game, I'm willing to not care too much about it because it was a road game. You did have Kyrie, right, and you don't have the quite the same circumstance. But it looks like most of these home games, LaMarcus Aldridge is picking up a lot of slack, and especially the home games where there was no Harden. So I don't mind putting him in the mix. He's definitely a fringe play, but we're trying to leave no stone uncovered here. So I might like a little bit of Aldridge real points, but I think early on I'm going to lean Seth Curry real points, and then Drummond is an interesting case because they've had such a logjam in this front court, and he's only got 22 and 23 minutes in those first two games with the team. I figured yesterday if there was any game for him to get a little bit more minutes, it would be a game where the size might matter against a Julius Randle, a Mitchell Robinson, something like that. No, they just have so many people and so many mouths to feed, but he's an elite rebounder per minute while he's out there, and Thomas Bryant is not. So we do get an 11.5 rebound prop for Drummond. That's a little intriguing, but none of this is stuff that I'm running to. I think Seth Curry is probably the one that I'm going to jot down and probably have the most stake in. Any other Nets leans for you?
I was going to mention Drummond. I mean, when he gets his minutes, his 20+ minutes, his rebound is always in play, right? And yeah, I mean, I expect a lot of missed shots in this game with probably two less than average offenses going at it. So he could get there again with his rebounds. I mean, he almost had 20 against the big front court Knicks. So I believe he did not play in the fourth quarter, if I'm correct. So,
yeah, he didn't touch the floor in the fourth quarter. They went Aldridge as one of the closers, then James Johnson, Patty Mills, and then Cam Thomas was part of that big comeback there. So they had the floor spread pretty dangerously. Cam Thomas, Patty Mills, and Seth Curry. So plenty of shooters out there, and then Aldridge as a good little mid-range guy, and James Johnson out there threatening to kill people if they get in our way.
So like you said, it's a tough call. Like I feel like you got to take a stand if you want to get some exposure to the front court for the Nets. Like you got to pick between LMA or Drummond, and I would say points for LMA and then the rebounds for Drummond if you're going to choose between the two.
Yeah, a couple of cats in chat speculating that Aldridge on a back-to-back might sit. We've seen him play the last several back-to-backs for the Nets here, so I don't really think I'd expect that. Certainly, we've seen guys not start for Steve Nash and be a DNP. So if Blake Griffin checked in before Aldridge, I'd be concerned. But we have sample size of him playing 30+ minutes on back-to-backs this season. So I'm not going to overthink that because the sense of urgency for the Nets to string together some dubs is pretty high, and you got to win the games that you can win. They're gonna have games coming up against tough teams, the Bucks, teams like that. You should the Wizards should be a game that you classify as a game that you can win. So I don't know. I would assume and hope that it's all hands on deck, but obviously it's possible for it to not to be. Where do we steer the ship from here? We got the Heat at the Hornets. So Jimmy Butler does have a Q tag on him, but he typically always does. And whether or not is he probable? Okay, well then this becomes one of those unstoppable force, immovable object matchups where we get a fire and ice team metrically, right? Pace-wise, the Miami Heat, third slowest pace in basketball. The Charlotte Hornets, the fastest team in basketball. So extra implied possessions for the Miami Heat. Offensive efficiency-wise, the Charlotte Hornets are hanging on to a top 10 rating, and defensively, the Miami Heat are hanging on to a top 6 defensive efficiency. So we're leaning on Vegas here. They're giving us a 4.5-point spread on a 225 total. We don't have Gordon Hayward here for the Hornets. He's been out for quite a stretch. We have seen Montrezl Harrell be inserted into the mix here for the Hornets, and we've seen pretty sizable minutes for Terry Rozier, LaMelo Ball, and Miles Bridges. This is one of those spots where, because of the defensive matchup, I'm never going to feel overly excited, warm and fuzzy, if you will, on on jamming some of these props in, but I do think the Heat side will open up a couple of ideas for me. Tyler Hero listed as out, and that makes me want to take a little bit longer look at a guy like Kyle Lowry. He has played 38, 36 minutes his last couple of outings, and he'll stuff the stat sheet. He even triple-doubled against the Pelicans 3 games back. And, Brooklyn's a little bit more medium in pace, and Dallas is one of the slowest paced teams. If I let the pace give me a few extra possessions, I'm getting a 38 fantasy point projection in PrizePicks scoring. So if we look at the board for the Miami Heat, we're getting a fantasy score projection of 30. So that's over 5 margin of difference between my projections and theirs. And then for Jimmy Butler, you said he got upgraded to probable. Well, if Jimmy Butler's going to stuff the stat sheet against the fastest paced team in the league for 35 plus minutes, he's at 43 fantasy points, and I've got him for 49, so a little bit of a leeway. And then Bam Adebayo. I came close to putting Bam Adebayo on the cover today, but I put Josh Giddey on the cover yesterday. It was one of the worst viewed streams of our season. So I'm wondering if we just got to put notable faces and be chalk donkeys. But Bam Adebayo looks like a really strong play. I got him for 48 fantasy points. They got him for 42. Another +5, +6, +7 margin here. But Adebayo might give us a couple of singular lines, a couple of prop lines to shop. They got him at 12 rebounds, 3.5 assists, and 37.5 PRA. Because he is such a defensive stalwart, 1.5 steals per game, half a block, 2 implied stocks per game. You get extra possessions in this matchup against the Charlotte Hornets. I probably wouldn't want to just lean on PRA because the steals and the blocks will surface, and I'll just take the 5-point gap to fantasy score. But all year long we've been leaning on the Hornets, right? When all else fails, find the Hornets, find the Rockets, and get to business. Any favorites line wise on the Heat side? I think I'm gonna have more Lowry and more Adebayo because the lines are a little bit lower. But there's not a whole lot of ways to really go wrong here to pre-flop. I'm always gonna get a more aggressive projection than PrizePicks here. What are you thinking on the Heat?
Yeah, so Jimmy Spolster said about Jimmy Butler's shoulder that he is most likely going to play.
Okay.
He's going to play through the soreness again, like he did last game. So, this is a prime spot for Jimmy, right? This matchup, but how sore is his shoulder? We don't know. If we can get more information on that before lock, I would feel more comfortable clicking on him. Especially, for PrizePicks. I get it for GPP, DFS, but
yeah.
I want to be confident that he's going to get his full run. How many minutes did he play last game with the sore shoulder? Was it a blowout? I forget.
Butler played 38 minutes against Dallas, 34. So Jimmy minutes, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to get a better read before lock and feel better. So I'm with you on Bam. I probably feel the most comfortable and confident in him in this matchup. And I like his fantasy score probably the most. And then outside that, I feel like all the other guys, the tertiary guys, are fringe for now.
Yeah. When it comes to fantasy points per game allowed to opposing center spot, Charlotte's allowing the 3rd most on the season behind Sacramento, behind Houston. I promise you, adding Montrezl Harrell to the rotation did not make that a worse spot for opposing centers. So, I think I do lean on Adebayo quite a bit here. Definitely somebody that can fill the need and fill a role all the way around. On the Hornets side, This might stun some people, right? We talk about how the Heat has been such a really good defense. Well, they're kind of a funnel defense. If we pull up that team metrics chart in the RunDFS.com NBA VIP spreadsheet and sort by points in the paint allowed per game, Miami allows the fewest points in the paint per game. So you think about our thought process when it comes to attacking the Milwaukee Bucks. They defend the paint really well. They force you to chuck threes, and because of this, Miami's allowing the 4th most points via the 3-ball per game. Who's going to chuck the most threes on the Charlotte Hornets? Terry Rozier, Kelly Oubre. Likely the two candidates for me. So we pull up Terry Rozier's recent game log, especially without Gordon Hayward. 20 plus shot attempts is a reasonable expectation, pushing nearly 40 minutes, and he'll chuck as many as 17 from behind the arc. And then, same with Kelly Oubre. If he draws a start without Gordon Hayward, or even if he just gets extra minutes without Gordon Hayward, might be looking his way. Keep an eye on the starting lineup here, because I think there's two lineups, right? One is with Bridges and Washington, and one is with Oubre and Bridges. Last game we saw the Hornets drop. I believe it was Washington. Yeah, they put Washington and Bridges starting alongside each other with Mason Plumlee. But then, games prior, we saw Oubre in the starting lineup. So I guess if Oubre came off the bench, I don't know what he's priced at, but I'd be a little less confident in him off the bench minute-wise. We don't have a line on him. But I would expect Terry Rozier to have a stronghold on minutes played here, probably the guy that pushes 40. Miles Bridges, another guy I think that will push a deep amount of minutes. But Terry Rozier, I think, is the guy that's mathematically standing out to me when it comes to chucking threes. We got him at 20.5 real points on PrizePicks. We don't have a 3-point prop, but we also have 36 fantasy points. I'm getting 39 fantasy points, so not a big gap. But if you believe in that 3-point metric, man, I think Terry Rozier could make some sense. And then Lamello Ball, the PrizePicks line on him is 41.5 fantasy points. I'm looking at 50 fantasy points. His usage rate, especially taking Hayward off the court, is very doggone high. He'll stuff the stat sheet himself. If we get the official number on that, I'm gonna put Lamello Ball on the court. I'm gonna put Rozier on the court. I'm gonna take off a Gordon Hayward and run from there. And we get Lamello Ball with a 27% usage rate, a 30% assist rate, and a 1.3 PrizePicks fantasy point per minute production rate. By the way, Rozier, 23% usage rate, and that split over a fantasy point per minute. So I guess Rozier and Lamello, the two I want to get your leans on, and then we'll go from there. What do you think about Rozier taking advantage of that 3-point, I don't know, defensive inefficiency, or just that funnel defense, rather?
Sorry, I got some music in the background. Maybe it's a sign for Rozier. So PrizePicks smartened up, right? Like they know about this. They must know about this funnel, just like how the Bucks funnel everything to the outside 3-point shot, and they don't have any 3-point props. And I assume, like you were saying, like Oubre's props aren't there because we don't know the starting lineup, maybe, and that's why they're holding that back. Yeah, I mean, Rozier last game put up around 16 points. He had 3 threes, so I wish I would really jump on his 3-point prop if it was available. And if it was available, he's usually been sitting around 3.5, and I could still get on that. But yeah, the 20 points, I would say it's mid to fringe for me right now.
Yeah, 20 is on the nose here. How about Lamello here? We've got him at 7 assists for PrizePicks. We talked about his assist rate being at 30%, which is, 30% is a magic number all across the board. Usually 30%. I'm looking for 8, 9, 10 assists at that number. So I don't mind looking at Lamello Ball getting priced right below his season average. So I might have a lean in the over, but I do respect the Heat defense enough to not want to get too invested in Lowry and Butler defense. But I think assist is a pretty interesting line. Let's go look at LaMelo. Somebody mentioned LaMelo Ball history against the Heat, not that great. So we'll go FTP by game log versus Heat let's go last 10 games. I doubt he has 10 games against the Heat yet. No, he only has 4, and each one of those games, 22 minutes, 30 minutes, 30 minutes, 31 minutes, and 7 is his cap on assists, and that came last February. I don't know. Let's click open for a little bit more context. 104-86, so a 20-point lopsided game. Held the Hornets to 86. This Hornets offense a little bit better than that. Would you think? I don't know. Would you like Ball 7 assists or any of these Lonzo props? 41.5 fantasy points is one of the largest gaps between my algorithm and theirs. I've got him at 50. So maybe I just trust the robot here over the gut, in terms of it's the Heat defense. Without Ish Smith, Lamello Ball has every right to play, top three in minutes for the team here. And as long as he doesn't make any dumb mistakes, they really can't just bench him. So I'm taking 50 fantasy points. My projection is too much higher than theirs to not at least have some action on it, is I guess ultimately what I'm going to say. What do you think about Lamello?
Yeah, I agree. I would put it at a mid tier, and definitely have like one or two card exposure, in case he just has his typical game. But yeah, I always hate attacking the Heat.
Yeah, agreed. What up, Jermaine? Dion in the chat. Dominique, J. Cole, Landon Poindexter says it's Patty Mills, PRA, a lock. Man, I usually don't get too much of the RA part of Patty Mills. I usually just find good spots for the P. God dang it. Damron's out there. 9 Ether God, what's up, bro? Josh in the chat. Lanakula. What's up, man? Man Fantasy. All right. Let's go to the Bucks game, man. The 76ers and the Bucks, I think, will be a fun spot to target. Looking at the league and finding guys that like narratives, I think Ja Morant's a guy that loves to make his own narrative. But how about the Bucks, man? Giannis Antetokounmpo low-key loves primetime, low-key loves narratives, low-key loves statement games, right? If he can go out there and step on the Lakers' throat for 40 minutes, he'll do it. What about going up against a guy that's currently the odds-on favorite to win the MVP? And, Jokic is probably a stronger case here. But, love you too. Giannis wants that too. So Giannis up against Joel Embiid. There's your narrative, and here is the lines that we're dealing with. 55 fantasy points, the first throw a blanket over it, all-encompassing line. And before we went live, I remembered there was a Christmas stream, a Christmas video I did where the Bucks played the Sixers on a Christmas game, and a lot of people were like, Joel Embiid can stop Giannis, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I don't think that's true. So I made a mental note that Giannis against Joel Embiid and vice versa was fun for fantasy. So let's go Giannis Antetokounmpo FTP by game log versus Joel Embiid. Let's go last 10 games on that. So the magic number we're looking for is 55 fantasy points. Giannis has exceeded 55 in all but 2 games ever against Joel Embiid. One of those games, he played 29 minutes in 2017 and fouled out in those 29 minutes. And the other one, he played just 30 minutes on a Christmas game in 2019. And that was a game that was a little bit lopsided. And Giannis played, like I said, just 30 minutes, which was amongst the fewest on the team. So Giannis has a really good history against the 76ers. And I'll say a lot of those games also involve Ben Simmons, a better piece of help to maybe slow him down. Yeah, they got Matisse Thybulle, but again, I'm not running from anyone against Giannis here. Maybe Giannis fantasy points is a good starting point to get some rooting interest in. I think 30.5 real points is strong. All these other individual props are pretty appropriately priced, but I think if I just throw a blanket over it all, I'll have a little bit of stake in Giannis over fantasy points, even though it's pretty elevated. And then elsewhere on this Bucks starting lineup, this is one of those teams that's not going to have necessarily a big usage twist to it, right? We don't have any Q-Tex. What you see is what you get. So the sites should have pretty efficient prices and projections on them. We do have a couple of guards, backup supplementary pieces. Pat Connaughton, Grayson Allen. It's questionable. Pat Connaughton out, George Hill out, and they traded away Dante DiVincenzo. So maybe you can make a case that a couple extra shots to be had for Drew Holiday or Chris Middleton. And I think Grayson Allen might be closer to out here. So maybe there is some extra shots for the guard rotation. Yeah, Grayson Allen's doubtful. I'm not going to put money on Wesley Matthews in 2022, but Drew Holiday, a couple extra shots. Chris Middleton, a couple extra shots. Middleton is at 18.5 points, and he's cleared that 3 of his last 4. And, ironically, the game he didn't clear it was the game that Giannis was out and they got smoked. But any early leans on the 76ers and Milwaukee Bucks?
Yeah, I was on Drew Holiday's PRA before finding out about Grayson Allen. I mean, Grayson Allen might seem like, not that big of a deal news, but actually, I mean, lately he's been taking a lot of shots and eating up usage and actually getting assists too. So that makes me like Drew's PRA even more. So his PRA right now is at 28.5, and that's about almost 2 below his season average. And this is a great spot for him to dish it out. And if you want, otherwise, if you want to get Giannis exposure, get on his points or fantasy points, like you said, and then you could pair it with Drew's 6.5 assist prop, which I also like too. But yeah, those are probably the three I like.
So I have, let's see, Drew Holiday. I have Drew Holiday at 28, which is on par with him. I have 6 assists, which is on par. Dang, I don't have a lot of big gaps between my numbers and theirs.
Yeah, it's real tight on the pricing in this game for sure.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Like, there's no excuses not to be priced appropriately, because there's no one out, right? Other than these random backups. All right.
Hey, yeah, like I said, Grayson, it's that's something to look into.
All right. Let's flip it to the other side. So the 76ers are basically relying on Joel Embiid to do everything. They no longer have Seth Curry as a reliable shooter. They're still waiting on James Harden. He's not going to be in there until the other side of the All-Star break sometime. And I guess it's only fair that we reverse the numbers. Joel Embiid, FTP by game log versus Giannis, Kumpo last 10 games. And as much as Giannis might like a narrative too, Joel got them Twitter fingers. Last couple games for Joel though, 34, 38, 42, 53, and every one of those games he has played significantly less minutes than his typical minute tree as of late. We pull up some of these games more individual. He's only got one game since 2020 against the Bucks. That's actually incredible. Is he ducking?
Oh yeah, I remember this now. Everyone jokes about it. Like he is duck. Like they say he's ducking, doesn't want to go against them. Yeah,
that's intriguing.
Joke, right?
Yeah, maybe. Last game was 7-point game. Put in 27 minutes. Yeah, okay. Yeah, something to keep an eye on there. So hard to feel super warm and fuzzy about his historical success or lack thereof here. But I got him for 34 minutes, about 61 fantasy points. I think early on he led my slate in terms of fantasy point projections for prize picks. I mean, maybe Luka's above him, possibly. Yeah, I got Luka a little bit above him, and then I had Joel second. So what we liked about Joel and Embiid last slate, they got smoked by the Celtics. We didn't want to go too crazy with the priced up fantasy points or the priced up real points. But if we let the on-off court tool do the driving for us, I think we found that his assist rate was pretty doggone high, and I think we might be able to map Embiid into a spot today where his back is against the wall and he might have to find ways to facilitate a little bit more. So let's put Embiid on the court here.
Bing bong.
Bing bong.
Love the shows, guys. Thanks for the great content. I see the sound has been fixed past few days also. Awesome. Good luck today. Let's go.
The sound has been fixed. That's great. Appreciate that 5, underrated world. That means a lot. So let's take Embiid off the court here. And let's just run it as such. We got Embiid, but a 41% usage rate, but that 37% assist rate while he's on the court on a 1.8 fantasy point per minute production. So similar to the Celtics game, his assist prop is at 4.5. And yeah, a couple games prior, he wasn't really crushing that, but 4.5 is standing out quite a bit. Remember, he lost some time against the Celtics because that game was like a 70-point blowout. And we talked about how the Heat restrict points in the paint. Well, the Bucks are the most notorious for doing that. Just 26 minutes for Embiid against the Celtics. I think we're gonna. Do we core Embiid 4.5 assists as one of our favorite props here? If we look at the team metrics chart in the RunDFS.com NBA VIP spreadsheet, we look at points in the paint allowed, sorted from least to most allowed. Milwaukee's 4th least amount of points in the paint, so it's gonna pressure, a guy like Embiid to not get over greedy if the score gets a little lopsided. And then, like we said, his assist rate right now being over 30%. I kind of like Embiid 4.5 assists as the cheap way to get exposure here, especially if the Bucks kind of outmatch him here. Is Embiid 4.5 assists your favorite Embiid prop?
Yeah, I would rank. I would say his assist prop is first because of you said like the funnel defense and the Bucks. Yeah, just give up so much on the perimeter, and then second to that, always his fantasy score is always in play. What's your thoughts on? Are you gonna risky enough to take or roll the dice on Gorgeous Yang's 1.5 3-point prop? So he's averaging almost 5 threes a game, and he's sitting almost at averaging 2 threes a game.
I don't think I am. He's 4, 4, 5, 3. Honestly, maybe just because that's how we attack Milwaukee, right?
Yeah.
Who's gonna chuck threes on the other side here? And I guess if we look through this lineup, Korkmaz, Yang, does Maxey get down like that? Maxey might be somebody we look at to chuck some threes. We just saw what Buddy Hield, that was the ultimate Buddy Hield spot, 4-3. We don't really have a big 76ers team stats or 76ers stats. I don't know, just player stats, team leaders. I'm gonna look at it. Seth Curry would have been perfect for this spot.
Yeah.
So I don't know who might pick up some slack here. So I'm gonna pull up the 76ers roster here and see 3-point percentage, sort of from highest 3-point percentage, and then maybe combine that with guys that might actually get some playing time. So Korkmaz, Tobias Harris, Toby letting it rip like that. Toby's not. I don't know, man. This is kind of an awkward spot. I guess Shake Milton, Maxey, Korkmaz would have to kind of step up, and I don't think we're ever going to get a Korkmaz line on PrizePicks today unless he's specifically in the starting lineup. So I don't know. Kind of weird that they have Yang listed for that, but I guess it's not crazy to game theory the need for the 3-ball, and if Yang's hitting at that clip, I don't want to bet that. That's crazy. I don't want to do it. Not going to be able to do it.
Understandable.
All right. Before we do that, we'll talk about the Rockets game next. Just remind you guys that we will keep tightening the projections, reacting to news as it unrolls out. You guys can keep tabs on everything: the prop detector, the player prop projection tab, all that good stuff by going to rundfs.com, clicking VIP memberships, finding something that's right for you. A lot of it on the surface pretty DFS centric, but the DFS, the decade of DFS research process that we've been on has really made the transition so seamless. And as you guys seen, I've turned PrizePicks into like a cash game replacement, and I love it. I freaking love it. So if you guys want to tail that, not only do you get access to the spreadsheet, but get access to the community Discord. Talking to the young bloods. Yeah, you're good. The access to the rundfs.com community Discord, and then every day before lock, we're in the NBA voice chat. We also have this dedicated PrizePicks and props channel. Like I said, I've been going to sleep betting CSGO and League of Legends, so it's not just NBA. But I don't know anything about CSGO and League of Legends. I just know, shout out to who made me money today. I can't even know. I don't even know how to pronounce his name. Zyru or something? I don't know. Anyway, go to rundfs.com, get signed up. We're going to talk about the Clippers and the Rockets in chat. If you guys have a specific spot, let me know. Also, the Mavericks and the Pelicans. These are the other two games. So, real quick, Mavs at the Pels, Luka Doncic, and games that aren't complete and utter blowouts. Luka Doncic is live to drop you 60 to 70 fantasy points. Put 45 on Miami. I guess Miami's a tougher defense. I'll give them some credit. But prior to that, it's 70, 75, 65. Spencer Dinwiddie is in the mix now, but I don't know if that's enough for me to get away from Luka per se. He has a 9 assist prop and 30.5 real points, 55 fantasy points. I've got Luka leading the slate. and fantasy points is 63. You know, that's a tall glass of water to sip on, but it's just a 2.5 point spread, and you know Luka's going to have his hand in just about everything. Is there anything Luka-wise standing out to you that you might get some stake in?
Yeah, I'll probably just split it down the middle with his points and his fantasy points, and just hedge my bets there between the two.
Yeah. I get uncomfortable with these 50 plusers, but slim pickings today. And then on the other side, on the Pelican side, they've kind of unleashed Cesar Mccollum to an extent. His last couple games on this new team, he's exceeded this 21.5 point prop pretty mightily, and I think that's by design. So maybe he can keep clearing this. We look at his recent shot attempts, and then we can also get us a usage rate number and an assist number. Still potentially one of those spots where projection models that maybe PrizePicks uses that can't really overcompensate or efficiently compensate for what's actually happening. But 25, 13, 24 shot attempts this last couple games. Not a ton of free throws, but a lot of real points. So just out of curiosity, we go to New Orleans here. By the way, if you guys are looking for the DFS show, it's coming up right after this show. We might go a couple minutes over. It's 5 games today, so bear with me. But if we go to McCollum, let's put McCollum, Ingram on the court at the same time for the Pelicans. That should narrow down really the numbers that we care about or are looking for. Cesar Mccollum has a 20% assist rate, a 26% usage rate. Ingram a 26% usage rate, 17% assist rate, and McCollum a 1.17 PrizePicks fantasy point per minute production rate. So that gives us 21.5 real points on that usage rate, 4.5 assists, and 37 fantasy points. I've currently got him right at 37 fantasy points. So everything is pretty linear for the most part. So I don't have anything that's going to stand out egregiously versus what's on the board for PrizePicks, but maybe the 20.5 real points is something I can get behind. And then JVL is at 34 fantasy points. I've got him at 43. This Mavs front court could be susceptible to opposing bigs. They did get Clayball back a couple games back, but there's still some size inequities. So maybe JVL either fantasy points or potentially rebounds. They have him at 10.5 rebounds. What did I just click? 10.5 rebounds. That's probably an uncomfortable click. I think McCollum real points is the only thing I'm kind of leaning on, but I'm not even sure that I'll end up there. What do you think on the Pelican side?
Well, I was with you on McCollum from the start this morning, but I just noticed this could be interesting. They just added Jackson Hayes, so can we try to predict his minutes in rotation for this back-to-back, being on a back-to-back?
Sure, absolutely. Jackson Hayes yesterday played 29 minutes. Was on the court for some stretches alongside JVL. And there was even a lineup where they ran, it looks like McCollum, Ingram as point guard, shooting guard. Devontae was out, and they had Hayes, JVL, and Herbert Jones. But that's also potentially in response to the size that the Grizzlies might have had out there with Steven Adams, a little bit of Jaren Jackson. So I would probably say 20 plus to 25 plus is reasonable.
Why is JVL's minutes going down?
So last night JVL got into some foul trouble deep. Had to miss.
What about the Raptors game?
Let's see, Raptors game. By the way, just to put a cherry on that, JVL missed a big part of the fourth quarter. So I'm guessing he picked up a foul right here. He did. So he had 5 fouls a couple minutes into the fourth, and they had to sit him down. And while they sat him down, Hernan Gomez picked up some extra run and a couple minutes for Hayes. I think Hayes has been more of their stretch four. So that's what cost JVL probably 4 or 5 minutes in the fourth quarter. And then against the Raptors, it was a 30-point blowout. So he barely played in the fourth quarter, and that's what happened.
Okay, well, I mean, do you think 13.5 PRA is too risky, I guess? Because like you said, the Mavs, like,
for Jackson Hayes?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. 13.5. Active, big. I don't know. I don't hate it. let's see. Let's go look at this San
I think you have him
Antonio.
projected for 14 PRA, I believe. So it's
All right,
not much.
let me see. In that fourth quarter against. So it's not like in that fourth quarter, that blowout against the Raptors, it's not like he soaked up garbage time. They basically went full mop up. So, yeah, maybe I can get behind 13.5. What was my early run on Jackson Hayes? Jackson. I have him at PRA 14. So I'm slightly over. I think that could be kind of sharp, especially on maybe a back-to-back where Hayes has a little deeper gas tank. Yeah, not uncomfortable, but I don't hate it. I think that's interesting.
And then I guess to wrap up the Pelicans, yeah. So McCollum, like you said, is basically taking over the point guard duties, especially closing. Devontae Graham's just slowly phasing out. I've been hitting the under on him every time they play, but PrizePicks just completely removed Devontae Graham's props because he's been going under. So yeah, I can get on the McCollum call, and then yeah, I'll consider Jackson Hayes, but yeah, I'll fringe for me for now.
All right, last game we'll talk about here. Rockets at the Clippers. So Rockets do come to us with some big news to keep an eye on. Yesterday we saw no Kevin Porter Jr., no Christian Wood, which for the Sharp Cats in DFS, that opened up Dennis Schroeder and Alperen Şengün. So if we have a lean here that might put those guys closer in and out, we might have our chance, a shot to run that back. Looks like stomach illness is the designation. Also, maybe the 15-point spread, which they ended up not caring. I tell you, these teams that are too dumb and too young to know that they should suck go out there and stun the world. So keep an eye on Kevin Porter and Christian Wood because the Clippers are an intriguing spot. I think I want to lean on the Clippers side early on. I don't think we exhaust too much time here talking about the Rockets because we don't quite know what they're going to do. But let's talk about the Clippers because we know that they're backed into a corner with what they have available. They recently traded for Norman Powell and he got hurt, so he joins a list of guys that are out. And they no longer have Eric Bledsoe and the like. So Reggie Jackson has kind of picked up a ton of slack for this split. And I think he might be a guy that gets suckered into playing aggressive amounts of 37, 38, 40 minutes in his last couple games. Common denominator being Norman Powell down. Reggie Jackson is priced at 30.5 PRA, 34 fantasy points. Rockets run the worst defense in basketball, one of the fastest paces. I'm getting a 45 fantasy point projection on Reggie Jackson.
That's the largest differential you have on the slate, I believe.
So I'm all about some Reggie then. So I'm going to add Reggie to the list. Do you like any other Clippers here? I think you can easily make cases, at least for DFS, on Terrence Mann. Zubak finally had a big game. Marcus Morris, you can justify. This is kind of a cheap man's Hornets, right? And then you get a cheap man's Clippers because none of them are priced too aggressively, where I think I'm going to get some margin of difference where my side's a little bit higher than the PrizePicks side, but Reggie's probably my favorite. Any other Clippers leans?
Yeah, but I was gonna say probably Reggie for me. His assist rate's going up. I mean, he's assisting at a high rate. So you could get on a six assists if you want to go with that. But the fantasy, I always feel best when attacking the Rockets. And yeah, I really wish they had Rocco props on here because he's just he's a perfect fit for this gritty team. Like, he's already in his first 2 games with them, he's gotten 3 stocks and 4 stocks and block steals. So I'm gonna keep an eye out. They, with these later games, they tend to add guys later on. Mm-hmm. If you get any kind of fantasy point for Rocco or his blocks and steals, I'd definitely jump on that. And then Zubak, he's been playing really well lately. They have juiced up his props, though. He's been sitting at 7.5 rebounds. Now he's at 9.5. But, yeah, I mean, he's been rebounding really well. It's a great matchup. So maybe some Zubak, but I would say Reggie's probably the main core guy from this game.
Yeah, in the month of February, Reggie Jackson on the court, Norman Powell, Bledsoe off the court. Reggie Jackson at 29% usage rate, 30% assist rate, 1.1 PrizePicks points per minute. So that's probably one of my favorite lines this far out. So there we go. I mean, that's our slate. I didn't have a ton of warm and fuzzies. I think Joel Embiid, Reggie Jackson, Joel Embiid assists, Reggie Jackson fantasy points. Is this maybe our favorite two?
And then I guess, and then the other ones would be Bam fantasy points.
Bio fantasy points, bet.
And then Seth Curry points or 3-point made, 2.5 3-point made.
6.5 points. All right. Over.
Hey, didn't the last card we made yesterday? Didn't that all hit for you?
Yeah. 5 for 5 at the end of yesterday's stream.
Nice. Hey, maybe it's good luck. Keep it
Maybe.
going.
I'll do another one. Do we have a fifth one, or we just want to go? I got Embiid over 4.5 assists. Reggie 34 fantasy points. Bam Adebayo 42 fantasy points. Seth Curry, I'm gonna take the 16.5 points.
I guess you could do either for the fifth one. You could either take Luka points or fantasy points, or Lamello Ball fantasy points.
Lamello fantasy point. Yeah, Lamello. I did have a 9-point gap. I'm so scared of the Heat, but 41 is kind of low. But he can turn the ball over, man, and that
He can.
That freaking. I think I might just run these 4. I'm gonna be a punk and run this 4. I'm gonna run as a flex, and I'm gonna come back and do, like I said, let's put $50 on that, and then place that. So, chat, if you want to tell that, they changed the projections literally. What did they change? Bam Adebayo went to 43. I ain't no punk. I'm doing it.
Oh,
right.
Hey, I forgot. Lorenzo just reminded me. It's Michael Jordan's birthday today.
Stop it. F them kids.
Hornets rise up for him to the occasion today.
Hey.
Maybe. My birthday's
I don't
tomorrow.
know. They're in his bad graces right now. He got up and left that T-Wolves game. He was pissed off.
Chad, I gotta get us out of here. I'm over on time. I gotta get to the DFS show. Guys, I appreciate you. Crush it tonight on Prize Picks. Tag me later tonight on Twitter. Hopefully you do well, and we'll make some money. I'll be in the Discord all day, man. I love you guys. Good luck. God bless. Go win some money.